Hello everyone, it's a lovely English summer's afternoon, and today's job is to do a service on my MX5 here. Just a basic service. I'm just going to do the oil and oil filter. I'm going to check the air filter and the spark plugs as well, just to make sure that they're still in good condition. I've only done about 10,000 kilometers, which is about 6,000 miles, so they should still be in good condition, but I'll check them anyway. And so yeah, that should be a pretty easy job for today. Just currently running the car just to get the engine up to full operating temperature and make the oil easier to drain. And then next weekend my task will be to replace this radiator, which is not giving trouble at the moment, but it is quite old. I think it's probably the original radiator that was on the car, so that means it's about 24 years old. And if you look here, you can see that it's actually gone brown, which they don't come out of the factory like that. If you look on the side here, you can actually see it used to be black, and what's happened is as it's got older, the plastics turn brown because of the heat, and that normally indicates that they are starting to get a bit brittle. And what happens commonly is that they start to leak along the seam here where that joins with the aluminium. So it's basically just a bit of preventative maintenance, because we're going on a road trip to Europe in a few weeks' time. So I want to just kind of minimize the possibility of getting stranded in the middle of nowhere. So I'm going to change that. I've got a replacement one. Also, while I'm doing that, I may as well do the hoses. They do seem in pretty good condition, so I'm going to keep the old ones as spares just in case. So it means the back one's here, this one there, and then there's another one at the bottom there which you can't really see. So I'm going to change those, and I'm also going to change the thermostat as well, because, well, may as well, seeing as I've got the system all emptied out. I'm going to be doing that anyway. So that's for next week. This week's just an easy one. Get the oil changed, check the filters, check the spark plugs, job done. So actually the first job I'm doing is changing out the mats, floor mats, with new genuine Mazda ones. These are genuine as well, but they're the Roadster ones. And you might wonder why I'm doing that, because they actually do seem alright, which they are. And that's because these genuine Unos Roadster mats apparently are worth quite a lot of money, about 100 quid or so, so I've been led to believe. So I'm taking them out and I'm going to keep them safe somewhere, instead of wearing them down. You can see there's already a bit of wear on this one, but it's not too bad. I think it's mainly just scuffed. So yeah, I'm going to keep hold of those because they're worth a bit of money, so just replace them with some boring bog standard ones, which are only worth about 20 quid. Okay, so car is now jacked up using the trolley jack and supported on axle stands, so it's safe. I can now get underneath a bit easier. The engine has warmed up and that's now been switched off for a bit so that the oil can settle. So I'm going to start draining the oil, and I also need to try and gain access to the oil filter, which is in there. It's a bit awkward. Okay, so oil is now drained pretty much. Did quite a nice neat job there, didn't spill any. You can see there's a few small little drops coming out still, but most of it's done. Also managed to replace the filter, which was a little bit of a mission. You can see it's up there, but you can't really get to it very easily, even from down here. So I have to use my left hand, this one, sorry, not that one, and it's not quite as strong, so Made it a little bit tricky, but managed it. New filters in place. So just waiting for the rest of the oil to drain out. And then put the new oil in, and then that's pretty much the service done. So the next thing I'm going to do is check the condition of the spark plugs. So I'll just chuck a spark plug spanner in there. Damn. It does have a little thing in there for trying to capture the spark plug, but it's a bit tricky. So spark plug is out with the help of some long nose pliers, and there it is there. That actually looks pretty decent, nice and clean. There's no oily residue. A little bit of carbon fouling just on the edge there, but actually that looks pretty good. So I don't think those need changing. Sorry, I'm trying to get in focus. I think those are good to go until the next service. So I'm going to leave those as are. And next we'll check the air filter. Right, so this is the air filter, and as you can see, pretty much looks brand new, because it was replaced the last service, which was, as I mentioned, 10,000 kilometers ago. I don't know if I did mention that or not. Anyway, it was. So it wasn't very long ago, and as you can see, there is literally no kind of discoloration on that at all. That's the engine side, and that's the intake side, and as you can see, there's no difference at all. So that is fine, that can carry on. So basically all that's left to do now is to change the oil, which I'm going to do now, and then that's pretty much it. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but it's raining, so luckily I'm under the shelter of the carport. Okay, so sump plug is now on and tightened, with a washer this time because it didn't have one for some reason. Don't quite know why. So that's done, and now I'm just going to start pouring in the new oil. So this is 4 litres, and according to the manual it should take about 3.5 litres. So I'm just going to pour away until most of it is in, and then I'll check the dipstick to see how we're doing. That's proper chucking it down now. I remember the days when I used to work out on the street, and if this happened, I was well and truly fucked. So things have definitely improved, although it would be nice to have a proper garage one day. Okay, well, it's a bit difficult to see because the oil's so clean, but that now looks like it's sitting basically on the 0. So that's good, that's about what I expected. There's about half a litre left. So now what I'm going to do is start the engine and circulate the oil a bit, and then we'll check it again. Okay, so I'm not going to start it for very long because I don't want to swish the oil around too much, which will affect how full it seems. Just want to get the oil circulated and into the oil filter. So I'm literally just going to start for about a second or so. Okay, good. Good oil pressure there. Happy with that. So now we'll leave it for a minute or so just to let it drain back into the sump, and then we'll do a final check. Okay, so here's our old engine oil, and I'm about to just pour it into this storage bucket. It's a good opportunity to have a look at it and see how dirty it actually was. So it's pretty black, and that was just, oh shit, that was just after 10,000 miles, sorry, 10,000 kilometers. So just shows you how engine oil does get used up. Why? Well, basically what happens is, because it gets hot in the engine, that causes the oil to denature, basically. So if you leave your oil in your car for long periods of time, it eventually stops having the proper lubricating function that it had when it was new. Not to mention the fact that tiny little bits of metal and carbon and other detritus end up floating around in the oil, which obviously the oil filter is designed to capture most of those, but you still get some particles which are able to get through, and eventually they'll wear the engine down quicker than if you change your oil regularly. Also, the oil, as it becomes denatured, becomes more sticky, and what happens is that then ends up gumming up the insides of the engine, which then stops them getting lubricated properly. So there you go. That's why you should change your oil regularly. Okay, so I've just topped up the oil again. Let's just have a look here. I don't know if you can see that, but basically it's right on the full line, so that's perfect. So basically now we shall leave it at that, and then I will check the oil again in a couple of trips time, just to see whether it needs topping up once it's all settled in a bit. Okay, so that's our service done. We've changed the oil, we've checked the air filter, we've checked the spark plugs. Brake fluid we would also check as well. But, obviously you can see quite clearly that that's all fine, it's up to the max. We've checked the clutch fluid as well. Probably would check the power steering fluid as well, so that's in here. So let's just clean that off actually and have a proper look. So this will just tell us. If we have any leaks in the system. Okay, so let's pop that in there. So this is just like a little dipstick, quite straightforward. Just chuck that in there, and then pull it out again. And as you can see, there's fluid all over that. So I think we're good there. So we've checked everything we need to check, changed the oil, changed the filter, so that's pretty much us done, I think. Right, so I just remembered that there's one other thing that we need to do. A bit of an awkward one, this. As you can see, I'm lying under the car at the moment. There's not a lot of clearance. And what we need to do is check the transmission fluid level. So as you can see, there is a filler bolt there, which what you need to do is undo that, and then you check whether the fluid is up to that level, and that's where it should be. And if it's low, we'll have to add more, which I don't actually have any transmission fluid, so I'm just going to have to hope that it's not too bad. But I've just been running the transmission now, so I've just splashed all the oil around inside there, so I have to now just wait for a little bit for that to settle. Should do in a few minutes or so, and then I'll pull that off and have a look. Seems to be a bizarre square plug instead of a normal hex one, which is a bit annoying, but I guess I can use a shifting spanner on that, I think. Right, so I just unscrewed the filler plug, And as you can see, some oil has already started dribbling out, and that's indicating to me that the oil is full. Let's try and get a view of that. You can see a little bit more is dripping out there as well. So I don't think we need to do anything more there, apart from clean up this mess that I've just made. Another point just to mention as well is, you can't see this yourself, but I can smell it as well, as gearbox oil has a very distinctive smell. And in fact, when it's old and it's past its sell-by date, it smells much worse. It's got like a really horrible burnt smell to it. And this actually smells, well, pretty much new. So I think the people who sold me the car, they did say that they replaced the gearbox oil, and having done this, I believe them because the oil smells pretty fresh. Okay, so I've just cleaned up my mess, nice and clean again. I'm also taking the opportunity while I'm under here to have a look and see if I can see any other leaks, but as far as I can see, everything all looks pretty hunky-dory. So fill the plugs nice and tight. The black you can see here is not actually a leak, but it's the under seal that they put on the car, and they sprayed it on, and it kind of went everywhere, as you can see, even up into the tunnel here, which is pretty impressive actually that they even did that. So I'm quite impressed with that. So yeah, there really isn't much else to say on this. I think we've done pretty much everything that we could possibly do. Car's got new oil, everything seems good, and I think it's time to call it a day. So with that, it's thanks for watching, and see you next time.